Yay! Well, hello everybody, and welcome to yet another edition of Metaworld News. Soon, probably to be called MBTV News, but I'll get to that later. And yeah, for the second week running, we're back in our old new location. Or is it a new old location? Well, actually, it's a new location. It's actually on old grid. Oh, no, it's not. Never mind, never mind. I'm going to get confused if I try and explain this one. But basically, we're an open sim. We have our studios on the Safari region of the Avacon grid. And
Yay.
yay, of course. More and more about that later. Right. So, my name is Mal Burns, and Mal, first word, Burns, second word, although according to the interwebs, I'm squashed. If you want to find me on Twitter, you have to go to twitter.com/Malburns, all one word, Malburns. Disgusting state of affairs. Or if you want a supplementary channel, you've got to go to twitter.com/Metaworld News. Again, squashed into one word. Don't know how they do it. Yep. I don't like being a lemming, let alone a sardine, but if I'm squashed, I'm squashed. And better to be squashed than flattened, I suppose. I don't know. I was going to make a parallel with the real world for a minute, but I think I better stick clear of that, actually. It's taken over all of our minds this week, the news. And
Oh, indeed.
hence the news that we deal with is actually very sparse on the ground, which is probably quite fortunate because we've got to really keep it down to time this week, ready for the show following the World Review. So, yes, we can't ignore the real world, but we'll probably try to for the next half hour or something. Although say anything could happen in the next half hour, says Thunderbirds, as Mr. Putin accidentally sits on his red button. Whoops! Oh, nervous times. Right. Okay, I'm joined in the studio here, of course, by my colleague James Atlloud. Hello, James.
Well, hello, Mal. Welcome to Sunday.
Welcome to Sundays, yes, as we always do. Now, at this point, I normally elaborate on the wonderful, loud costumes that James Atlloud wears. But
Oh.
no such luck on this platform. Well, we will
No.
later, but for now, we're down to the standard old stuff. And James actually is rather lucky because if he speaks, yes,
Hello. Hello.
you see, his lips move. Whereas mine have a big problem, they do. It's because somebody called a mesh. They make a mess of my mouth. There you are, mesh mouth. 3Ms. Yeah. 3Ms is something else, I forget what. Right. Anyway, that's all to do with the aesthetics, and we'll get that sorted eventually. Maybe I'll get the mouth working, or maybe I'll just choose some other avatar. Trouble is, everybody knows this avatar is even on the show following, they know this avatar, so you don't want to change it if you see what I mean. Anyway, here we go. Straight to the news, I guess. Now, I'm just going to run quickly a little video that I have. The picture you see on screen at the moment, I think it's from the Zuckerberg world. I can't be too sure, but I know James has seen this, and so has Leslie, in fact. But people, I know a lot of people missed this, so I just have an offline copy. This is not going to be an advert for Zuckerberg, right? Please don't mistake it for that. It's actually an advert to show how not to advertise the metaverse. This is something that Zuckerberg showed at the American Super Bowl. And, well, it didn't exactly bowl me over. Many of us were somewhat incredulous as to what all this was about. Have a looky butcher see. Oh, don't need help. Ghost howling there. Ghost howls indeed. Well, there you go, folks. I've been in what I've always thought of the metaverse in various platforms and others for years and years and years, and there's absolutely nothing, as far as I can see, in that advert that would have enticed me to whatever the thing at the end was, get a quest or whatever. Um, and I really wonder if they know what they're doing in stepping into the world of furries, which there's a whole subculture to do with the furries. I've got a feeling that Zuckerberg doesn't even know about if you approve that advert. Anyway, you've now seen it. Thoughts on the postcard, please, to metaworld@infinity.com, I think we'll do.
You
Right.
made that one up. Okay.
Yeah. So clicking back here, we're on the news links of the week, and as I said, actually, unfortunately, very little this week. Plenty of news, but not so much our news, if you see what I mean. My first thing here that we got up, accompanying this picture, is of course the XR Wheat Peak, Alt-Space VR to introduce safety measures, Horizon audiences growing, and more. I guess Horizon's audience is growing because if you log in and head off for the Horizon, you then fall off the edge of the world, don't you? So they have to be, they need more people coming in to replenish the stock. Yeah. I don't know. Ugh. Yes, he needs more people, does Azuki. As does the other dictator. Right, the XR Wheat Peak for Monday, basically, February 21st. Now, this show, of course, is our news headlines for 27th of February, which I forgot to even mention in the chaos, didn't I?
Yeah.
27th of February is today, and therefore most of our headlines are for the week ending 27th of February. But this particular one comes on Monday, and it's a reflection of the week before. I think I mentioned last week that Alt-Space VR has introduced safety measures following the Zuckerberg's attempt to do the same thing. And it means there's a kind of personal bubble around your avatar now, so you can't go up and hug another avatar or kiss them, or even business users can't shake hands. This is terrible. How do you expect to promote a global communication system by limiting interaction? I really don't know, but that's what they're doing. Also, I haven't put the news up here, but I should mention it. The other thing is Facebook has apparently abandoned their work on, they've sat 300 people who were working on the reality operating system. Apparently they can't manage that one.
XROS. XROS.
Yes. Yeah, so apparently your good old Quest is now going to have to stick with Android for the foreseeable future, because they're not doing their own yet. Anyway, moving down this, as I said, it's a roundup. A little introduction from him, because if you actually follow his newsletter or web, you'll see a section called Other News that he's introduced. Basically, it's sort of links, a bit like me, sort of links that aren't always mainstream to his general news. So there he is talking about Microsoft and Alt-Space VR. To Horizon Worlds again. Doesn't ever stop. Well, it's all rumours when it comes to Apple, but there seem to be, if you can go to patentlyapple.com, you can actually see schematic details of stuff that Apple has patented, but that still doesn't mean they're going to use it. There are thousands of patents that Apple holds, and they still hold them, but they might as well have abandoned them. I think they play it safe by patenting anything they might need, even if they don't ultimately do so.
So much doubt, Mal. You have so much doubt.
Yeah. Well, it's just Apple's habit, really. The next version of Quest certainly probably still be Android, but it won't feature full body tracking. They've abandoned that one too. More articles on the metaverse, and a site called VR Heaven helps you find Quest games, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, this all is actually news not from this week gone by, but the week before. But you can find that summary there at, I've got my notifications sticking up there. Shouldn't have those. Right. Sorry, I just do not disturb. There we go. Sorry. Always something I forget to do before I start. Right, you will find this at skarghost.com. SKARREDGHOST.com. And I think we have another one from him later, which is rare. No, maybe we don't. Maybe we don't. I'm imagining things. I'm moving on to CNET. Right, now CNET, this was quite an interesting one. As I said, we've got very few this week, so I can probably afford to talk about them for a couple of seconds at least. Um, this is the only real tech item this week. It's a company called Tobii. They're not new, but they're considered to be one of the leading eye tracking companies. In other words, for eye tracking tech. To put in helmets, basically. Although I suppose they can go in glasses and other things. Um, and they're talking about a new wave of VR headsets. The one there, they're talking about PlayStation VR 2, uh, Meta, which of course is the Emperor Zooks affair, bringing out something called Project Cambria, and also Apple's long rumored, obviously, device. And one thing they're all likely have in common is eye tracking. Although it suggests that's not going to be particularly immediate, it's that maybe probably come to the PlayStation VR 2 if seems to be the only thing there that's actually on accurate schedule. Anyway, this review at CNET really is just looking at eye tracking. It's obviously a bit of PR for the this particular piece of work, but they go into all the reasons for it about high eye contact and social works may make things less awkward. Before we came on air, James and I were just mentioning something about sort of facial tracking using like webcams in the likes of Second Life and of course OpenSim, which has actually been done before. I think it was Corey Andrek, well, 10, 15 years ago, did it in Second Life, but it's very rudimentary. But that when you're looking at avatars and things, the getting an eye-to-eye contact and getting that full facial animation is a major enhancement. Although some people say they wouldn't want the enhancement to go too far, or it becomes like the uncanny valley where you've got avatars that are so photorealistic it makes people feel uncomfortable. So each to their own, really. But good to know what technology is around. So you'll find this at cnet.com, cnet.com. As always, if you want the link to the direct page as opposed to the actual general website, then go to my Twitter feed at twitter.com/Mal Burns and click on the article saying watching me, watching you. There are many, many, many more articles usually on the Twitter feed than I ever put on the show here, especially this week where I'm down to about 6. So there you go. That is at cnet.com. Moving on to forums. This again is another usual case of affairs, so to speak. This week in XR, this is the text version of Charlie Fink's roundup. Again, talking about Sony's PlayStation VR 2, backlash at Meta, and a lot of media attention to people getting groped in VR chat. Now, this is not the same as the woman who claimed she got raped in... Just gone. It's the wrong expression, I'm afraid. Maybe psychologically, I don't know. But that was in the Zuckerberg world of what's it called again, Horizons or something.
Horizons. Yep.
Yeah, VR chat is actually a different world. It's actually a very popular one, and one of which we do a bit of coverage. We know plenty of people who use it, but I bet it was the BBC and one of the major newspapers over here. Did an expose. While their journalist became an avatar and went in world and. They were pissed off that they got groped a lot. In my opinion, they should have groped back. But maybe the person who was groping them had some nukes in his pocket, so maybe it wouldn't have been a good idea to grope back. I don't know. Sorry, diversion me.
Mm-hmm.
What? Diversion. You know what I'm like. My mind goes all over the place. Anyway. New York Magazine considers Facebook's metaverse destined to become the biggest flop in tech history. That's what we want to hear. Right. Sony says, metaverse. I don't know whether it's now metaverse. To put that, not meta. Never mind. They're working on AI to assist users to make worlds. They'll have a go at anything, won't they, basically, especially if they can nick it for free. Meow Wolf, more immersive than VR. This is a real-world location in Las Vegas that is, VR in the real world kind of thing, a bit the equivalent of a game arcade, but for the VR age. And yeah, VR chat has unsavory adult content. Unsavory, eh? Good God, that's a BBC word, I think, unsavory. In some user-built worlds, and they're all open to kids. Gosh golly. Actually, somebody says, good point. But actually, have you seen the internet lately? As if it's new.
Right.
It's not virtual worlds online that have brought up every page of Facebook is potentially a danger to kids. So there you go. Right, I'll get back to the top of that. So if you want to figure out this one, you go just look up Charlie Fink at Forbes.com, Forbes.com, and again, direct link on my Twitter feed. Right. Now, we didn't have any last week, but he did manage one this week. In fact, he only just managed it yesterday, I believe. It's voicesofvr.com, our favourite talking point. Well, really. We're up to episode 1057. Well, we'll be at 1100 before you know. Right, this is about what parents should know about social VR, understanding social VR harassment, and parental guidance for the metaverse with Lance G. Powell Jr. Gosh, he sounds important, doesn't he? Anyway, he's talking his parental guidance here, basically. And got another bit of parental guidance for you. Do not go to any website that is called something or other.ru. Enough said. Right.
Enough said. Yep.
Enough said. Exactly. Right. Okay. So here, this probably applies to real life too. Don't talk to strangers if you're under 13. Don't go to other people's private homes of people you don't know. Learn safety tools. Record incidents. Only go to private worlds. Having said, don't go to private worlds. Understand the social norms of an environment. Be cautious about how you report harassment. Yes, indeed. Don't mess everything up by breaking it. Avoid conflicts. Avoid conflict avoidance. Plot twist: your kid might be part of the problem. Play half and half on Quest. Yeah, what that means, I don't know. I'm not interested. I don't use a Quest helmet and don't do a Quest. Sometimes fun to go on Quest, but not in a Quest, if you see what I mean. Right, so that's voicesofvr.com. VOICESOFVR.com. And again, it's actually anywhere. If you go there, this will be top of the list. Voices VR is available on just about every podcast platform you can imagine. So just look it up. If you go to the website, you get a little bit of a summary there, and you can play it on the website itself. But I mean, a lot of people subscribe to it elsewhere too. So always excellent to listen to there. You could actually just open the playlist from other podcast things, and you'd never need radio, virtual worlds, or computers ever again. That's probably enough to fill up every day for the next few years. But you can pick and choose too, which is the beauty of all this stuff, isn't it? Right, remove that one. All right, this is an interesting one, another recent one too. Venturebeat.com, VENTUREBEAT.com, home of GamesBeat as well, of course. Goes without saying, really. I just had a couple of replies to this tweet just this morning. In fact, I think it was just today. I posted it last night. All of which just say, yeah, we knew this, and they're not criticising me for posting it. It's saying, just commenting on the fact that those of us in the know have known this sort of thing forever and ever. Apparently, every company under the sun on the entire planet is building their own metaverse. But as it says, there are no standards, so God only knows what metaverse they think they're building. Yeah, really, really something odd. Okay, they're also telling us here that the GamesBeat Summit, which overlaps with virtual reality stuff, 22 is on April 26th, 28th this year, so you can reserve your spot. But then they talk about the headline of the article. It takes more than a clever speech by Facebook or anyone else to create the metaverse. Before any of us can begin exploring it, someone, or more likely a combination of many someones, needs to begin building it. For that to happen globally at real scale, we need the right combination of devices, standards, and network technology, none of which are fully here yet. And I'm not going to read the whole article, am I? Otherwise, you won't go and read it for yourself, and it's too long for me to want to read out loud. This isn't a storytelling session. So, read it at venturebeat.com, venturebeat.com. And move that item. And we're on almost the final actual link here. This is a site called the Daily Express in the UK. It's a newspaper. It's called Express Co UK, express.co.uk. And they're one of what they call the tabloids. They're not the big, it's not the Times or the Independent or the Guardian. It's that slightly more downbeat thing, but they love commenting on this, and they comment on the fact the BBC tries to explain the metaverse too. They didn't do that bad a job, but even so. But obviously, in the light of affairs at the moment, I suppose they couldn't help put this headline in. Metaverse will see cyber warfare attacks unlike anything before. Massively elevated. Even so, unlike anything before, isn't that another bit of somebody else's grammar from earlier in the week? I'm not sure. Anyway, it could be used by warring countries to damage each other's cyber and information infrastructures, the paper has been told. And what they seem to have missed here is that this is already happening. By phrasing it metaverse, I mean, remember, the metaverse is just one incarnation of the huge communication networks we have. It may be 3D worlds and immersive environments that take it beyond chat rooms and tweets and web pages and stuff like that. But cyber warfare is already here. I mean, a lot of people have been hit this week. I mean, stuff is coming out that is affecting the West. You haven't heard from them for a long while, but the anonymous group, who are quite literally anonymous, hacked into the Kremlin's military web and into all the public broadcast stations in the Soviet Union, and they've been overriding Soviet Union television, showing them the real feeds from the West, and they've put the infrastructure of the Kremlin's military system online. The schematic of what everything connects to what and in what kind of order. So they've done a rather good job there, and it does make you wonder if they've been so successful that somebody thinks they're losing and has actually gone for the option that dare not speak his name. But anyway, so moving down, I mean, this is it's relevant to what we do, really. I mean, especially when they go and put metaverse here in the title. It's not strictly metaverse because they don't really understand, I think, themselves. They know the metaverse is currently in the Wild West stage, they say. I mean, they got that built right, but they still haven't got a definition of the metaverse. So, so how can something they can't define be doing this? But you get the idea. Just like the internet is employed in different countries today, the metaverse will probably split into the Western metaverse and the Chinese metaverse. No mention of anybody that isn't Chinese or the West, if you see what I mean. Maybe that's interesting, or maybe it's not. Anyway, you will find this at expressco.uk, express.co.uk. And that's it for the text links, as it were. And that brings us to what we normally feature at this point, which is my Mastodon feed, which you can also pick up on Twitter. Basically, all these embeds. This is where I collect the interesting videos of the week, and they get listed here at Mastodon. And the links are also sent to Twitter anyway, so you can get them in either place. If you want to follow me directly at Mastodon, you want to go to mastodon.social. That's mastodon.social, and then /, that's the @ symbol, Metaworld, Metaworld. and that way you'll get this feed of video links. But as I say, each one of them is posted individually into the Mal Burns feed at Twitter. So moving down, a day ago, basically, the video version of Charlie Fink's thing, which seems to be back on schedule again. Their guest is Dan O'Brien, who is the general manager of HTC, who of course make helmets. They talk to him, and of course they're sponsored by Rivella. Mustn't forget that. Well, they're not going to let you forget it anyway. Charlie Fink and Ted Shilowitz doing that chat basically. Very different from Charlie Fink's rundown at Forbes. The one at Forbes is really just a links of the week kind of thing. This is much more opinionated discussion. Opinionated. Okay, Between Realities, of course, another weekly one that's in season at the moment, so to speak. This is episode 4 of season 5. Short Stack VR, and it doesn't really say much here at all. They're talking about Short Stack VR, but they also talk about a whole lot of other things too. When you're actually looking at my feed here, you can always click on these things just like this, and you can actually watch them without going to Vimeo or YouTube or whatever it is. They're all embedded. Some of them, like this one, I know for a fact has a long intro.
Welcome back to the Between Realities VR podcast. How you doing? It's so great to have you here with us. My name is Alex VR. I am one of the hosts of this show.
Right, well, you got to go through that before they get into it. But there again, this news program is exactly the same, isn't it? You have to suffer me introducing myself for 10 minutes before we get anywhere. Right, okay, moving down. VR download. This is the early week version from Upload VR. They're talking about Horizon's user base, which is supposed to be big, but as I say, they all head for the Horizons and fall off the edge of the world. So it's not really many people in there. It's not doing anything civilized. Sorry, my opinion. I love the idea of this $2,700 standalone Linux device. Also, when will Nintendo jump in? I presume they're referring to the helmets business there. Did you watch this one, James?
I did. Yep, it was good. Yep, I like David Heaney. He's got such an interesting perspective on things.
Yeah. It's actually quite rare, but I actually watched it live this week myself.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see you in the chat, and I don't think I saw all of it. I think I got the message from YouTube like 10 minutes in, and then I watched as much as I could before I had to start doing other things. But right. So it's all embedded here for future reference. Right. And what's it? Oh, yes. Well, something else here. We know where we are in the date list now, don't we? 6 days ago, this is the recording, of course, of this very show from last week, and then it goes down and down and down. So actually, there's only 3 new things there this week, as it were. Now there are a few others, and there are links that we would normally include here from the feed at twitter.com. Metaworld News, but most of these concern things like OpenSim and virtual worlds and stuff. So we're going to this will be the kind of beginning news portion of our newly revamped show, the In-World Review. I can see them in front of me, but I'm actually going to leave it till we get to that program before we do anything else. I'm quickly just going to double check that I haven't got anything else I'm missing. This is wonderful, definitely under 45 minutes today. Oh yes, well this is fits both really. This is from Caitlin at Tivoli. Tivoli is one of the orcs from High Fidelity, Philip Rosedale's virtual world, which is now just an audio project really, but they're closing down suddenly. They're taking Tivoli Cloud VR offline. They've been living their lives and evaluating priorities. No point in dilly-dallying around. We're taking good old Tivoli Cloud offline. The 2 of them who ran it, Caitlin and forget her name. They've been pretty distant from the platform of late. What they are doing, in the spirit of what High Fidelity did, is that they are taking their fork of the code from High Fidelity, which is all based on, and they're making it public and open source. So anybody can really continue to use it. And I was very surprised talking to somebody, I forget who it was today, who I remembered from High Fidelity. Apparently, some people can still use Philip Rosedale's Virtual World High Fidelity. It really depends on whether, when it was fully active, they created their own domain and installed basically an instance of the High Fidelity space on their own server somewhere. Apparently, the relay of High Fidelity Metaverse whatever to a particular URL still works. Obviously, it only works if there is a world at the end of the road, so to speak. But I was quite surprised about that. I mean, and with Vicadia and as well as Tifoli, this has been, the code is sort of interlinked. Basically, Vicadia have actually also recently checked out, created a new overt fork of the same code. So although Tifoli's gone, there is a new fork called overt. And of course, there's still Vicadia. And as far as Tivoli is concerned, one of the great meeting places, it was also a favourite default place in Tivoli. It was the Squirrel Nut Cafe, it was called. I remember being in there almost every day when they were building that. It was just fun to be there. This was and this particular avatar was there too, and his lips moved in there. Yeah. A bit pissed off about that. I wish I could bring the lip movement with me. Anyway, Squirrel Nut Cafe has been moved over to VR chat. So be careful, don't bring any kids in there. Wouldn't want to get them banned, but they're going to be hanging around there once in a while for old time's sake. So it'll be the same place that, from central meeting place in Tivoli, sorry, but it will now be in VR chat. They should have brought something to OpenSim, in my opinion, but there again, that's not the case. So, yes, as you can see, I have a little picture of that. Also, this I have been impossible. I have not been able to get a link or being able to get a copy of the video, but there was another interview with Infosys. You can look up Infosys on the web with Philip Rosedale in the week. It's just a tiny thumbnail size video, or even though it's obviously a Zoom call, but anyway, I couldn't get a copy, as it were, for myself. And what else? Yeah, I'm afraid everything else I've got here this week in the clip is things like this. This is I don't know whether you heard about this little piece of news, but there's one of oh God, I've got my regions confused now. In the Black Sea, basically, one of their islands is called Snake Island. And there were only about 12 people on it. It wasn't a military base, as far as I know. It was one of their outposts, for, in the Black Sea. And, a Russian warship came and approached them and told them to surrender. And the reply was, Russian warship, go fuck yourself. Needless to say, that the 12 people on the island are no longer on that island. I think they were obliterated. They were immediately obliterated in a strike. But very so. I love the attitude of these people, up against, but they're fighting for their homeland. They're not conscript soldiers. Yes, this is an interesting one. I can't think where this came from, but Britain had its blueprint for human rights in the metaverse. Not directly related to anything at the moment. And this is an interesting one. I mean, it just seems like a pretty awful. I don't know where these avatars are. It might be Ready Player Me or something, but it's meant to represent. And if you look closely enough, it does. I think 3 generations of women as avatars, if you see what I mean. So you've got grandma, ma, and daughter kind of thing. I don't know why. I just thought it's a useful graphic to keep around there, really.
Yeah,
Anyway,
the age thing is really important.
yeah, exactly, and sort of,
Representing
yeah,
age. Yep.
yeah. I think it's actually something to do with clothing because they're modelling different colours of the same dress, if you see what I mean. But the avatars themselves are definitely different. She's kept her figure rather well, and she's rather well developed.
Oh my. Yeah,
Well,
there you go, Mal. There you go.
I'm nitpicking, aren't I?
Well, that's maybe one word for it.
Oh, right.
Objectifying too.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. God, I'm not going to try and talk myself out of that one. Oops. Right, I'm going to put the picture post away. Okay. Well, I think this is where we can round up the show. Unless you have any final thoughts on this part of things, the news and stuff, James.
No, I think I'm doing all right.
Yeah. We got a remarkable amount into a short period of time. No, admittedly, there wasn't that remarkable amount to actually get going with.
Right.
But yes, so yeah, that's all pretty good. So I think we can do our normal sign off. We will return, of course, same time, same place next week. You can catch us all week on my channel, Mal Burns at YouTube. And in fact, not just all week, all month, all year, and up until infinity, however long that's going to last at the moment. We're not quite sure on that one. As long as there's service there, and as long as YouTube's got the service, we're probably going to be staying up there. Right, now we're closing down as per normal now, but in 20 minutes time we're going to be coming up on the channel again with a rebooted version of a great old show, the InWorld Review. It's a sort of chat show. We'll be probably having a lot of our old guests back and stuff, but this week we're going to introduce it with a quick look at a few things, and also with Cesar Member, who runs Safari, actually in the seats with us, so to speak, talking. So that'll be in about 20 minutes time, and hopefully you'll just keep watching the channel for that. But it is a different show now rather than a sort of news-based show, so that's that. We'll be back with this one, same time, same place next week. Once again, I'll be giving you the headlines for the week, and James will be fiddling with knobs. Yeah, forgot to tell you that. James fiddles with knobs. Well,
Fiddle.
He has a fiddle while we're live. Do you know that?
I need a virtual fiddle.
He better not do too much fiddling on the couch, which is where we're going to be in a minute. Not be going behind the news desk. We're going to be on the couch with you. Anyway,
will we be psychoanalyzed?
The knobs he's fiddling with have to do with connecting the video and audio channels and all that together while we're on air. So wonderful job there. In the meantime, everybody, stay safe. I don't know, just stay safe. Goddamn it! I mean, first the world's environment is collapsing, then we get a virus that's killing off everybody, and now God knows what's happening. So all I can do is stay safe. It gets to the point where I don't even want to say stay indoors, because if you hear something coming towards you, you probably want to go dive into the underground or the subway or whatever.
Maybe a little stay safe and be kind. Maybe that'll work.
Safe and be kind. Yeah.
Right.
And by the way, for those of you Americans who aren't taking this seriously because it's a long way away, I want you to consider this: if dictator Dictator Putin, really wants to reclaim the Russian Empire from the days of the Tsars, and wants to reclaim Russian territory, there's another big, massive land that used to belong to Russia. Do you know what that is?
North to Alaska.
Exactly. So, you might just find... No, I don't even want to think it. There's so many little things here. There's a wonderful map of Europe, and there's a little enclave that must be about a third of the size of Luxembourg, which is so tiny you can barely see it. It's actually Russian territory, and it's sort of just into the western half. It's actually a self-contained state of Russia, as it were. It's actually a harbour on one of the seas, so as it can get. Russia can get its fleet out into the Balkans. And it's funny. It's just like a sliver of land that allows Russia to get their fleet out. But apparently, if the Russian fleet is now in the Black Sea, they might have a problem replenishing or getting out, because Turkey owns the land that Russia has to use to get from the Mediterranean into the Red Sea, to put their fleet in the Red Sea. The Black Sea, sorry. Oh, it's multicolored around here, isn't it? Anyway, I'm rambling. Stay safe, everybody, and keep calm. Everything else, we will see you in about 15 minutes' time, I guess, now. So before I do anything else, bye for now. Ta-ta-da! We too are one. We are. I missed that one. Never mind.